Hi everyone, this is Joel, founder of EZPropTax LLC, and today we're going to talk about why you have to fight property taxes every year without fail. So, as a disclaimer, I'm not a licensed assessor or agent. I cannot or will not represent you in your protest, and my software does not do so either. It is strictly there to help you prepare your protest. All the results are on you and how you prepare, but we just give you a framework and help you do it faster and easier, and hopefully better as well. So that said, why fight? So here you can see essentially this is actually a neighbor in my area, and you can see they had an increase of about 159% over 5 years. So you can see 2018 it was 220, and then now in 2013 they're at 572. So you can ignore everything on the left. That's all irrelevant essentially. So that sort of increase is, quite frankly, it's ridiculous. But because this person didn't challenge, the county got their way, and because they got their way, they actually used this against myself. And so, because I saw this, I was able to point out and say, "Hey, what you're doing is you're basically weaponizing people." Like this person, I actually Googled, and I found out that this person is, a more elderly person, probably hasn't done the property tax exemption. It appears that they could own a single piece of land like this property, and so they would be eligible for a homeowner exemption, but for whatever reason they haven't done it. Probably because they don't know how, or they don't know the procedure, and it's a hassle to do it. Not that much of a hassle, but because they haven't done it, they're getting reamed, as you can see. I mean, 220 to 572 in just 5 years. Like they probably can't sell the land for that much. It's not worth that much. So the math of this, you can see right here. So all the numbers that you see, so I'm using like 2.275 as the tax rate for my area. It's an average, so could be higher, could be lower, but it's probably a pretty good average. In the first year, 2021, we'll just take the last 3 years, they essentially lost $1,600 that they didn't have to pay really if they had done the homework and been able to fight the market valuation the county came up with. The problem is really the second year, 2022, where it increased $6,000 from 2020, and then 2023. Basically, you can see how the max works out. Nearly $8,000. So that's almost $8,000 every year going forward, because somehow the taxes never actually go down. They generally just stay up. And so unless this person is able to get a massive reduction in their property value, which quite frankly is very unlikely, once you let these guys start winning, then they're going to essentially say, oh, any decrease is unjustified for whatever reason, and you got to do double the amount of work to try to prove that something was not right in the beginning. So these are extra tax losses that this person essentially lost. So just think about that. Over 10 years, this person would have lost somewhere on the order of a whole year's salary for a lot of people, right? Just for property taxes. This one cost is essentially eating up you figure, let's say 80,000, and then after tax, this is $100,000 plus of money down the drain going to the county, and you're not going to get that back. So this is why it's very, very important to make sure that you fight every year and win, because unless you have an exemption that limits your loss to about 10%, you're going to see huge losses just by losing, and you only have to lose once. As you can see, 2021, yeah, $1,000 is not fun to lose that much, but 2022 was the big one. That 196,000 increase led to essentially pretty much a doubling of the property tax for these guys. I think they were paying like 13,000 in the end. So let's talk about the other case. Like, let's say you do have the cap, the homeowner exemption. So you think you're safe. The problem is you're really not. It slows the rate of increase down, but it doesn't stop it. So what happens is, let's say you've got a $100,000 property, for example, and the county says, oh, it's now this year we think it's 200,000. but you have a homestead exemption. What happens is the first year after you're at 110. But what the county will do is then they'll come in and say, oh yes, you're at 110, and that's the amount you'll be paying off of. But we think that your house is now worth 250, and so that doesn't change anything. You still pay 110, but the year after, you're at 121, and then so on and so forth. It just keeps going up by the 10%. The problem is that the county will say, oh, well, we're anytime that you win, they're gonna say it's gonna be harder for you to win in all other cases because they were able to sneak an increase in you in the past. Then they're gonna use that level, and in the worst possible case, they'll say, oh, we think that we should just hold at the same level from last year, knowing that because you're under the cap, the 10% cap, you're still going to be paying more and more and more, even at holding the same level from last year. So in other words, a win for you just holding it at the same level is actually a loss. And if you actually lose, like if they get what they want, that's a gigantic loss. So your choice is really between lose and lose big. So you can't lose at all. That's the trick here. Like, and the way that you have to dial things back is to say, hey, I didn't know how to fight last year, and that's why it went up. It wasn't because the value actually increased that much. It was a fictitious county BS. So that's very important to emphasize. So yeah, hopefully this is clear. Oh, there's the other portion, which is that the new legislation is supposed to limit increases to 20%. And that sounds great until we go back to this number. 159% increase in 5 years. It turns out a 20% increase is about 148%. So something like that. So basically, there's really not a whole lot of difference between what's going on. Like that limitation, yeah, it prevents more egregious, like 300% increases in 3 years. But for example, for this person, it wouldn't have really made a difference. So just be aware, you're not really going to see a lot of savings because of the new legislation. The one area that is going to help is the homeowner, or rather the increase in the exemption to 100,000 from 40,000. That will save money. But it's not like as you can see, like if this person got their appraised value cut down by 100,000, they would still be 200 plus thousand more than when they started in 2018, right? So it doesn't really help them all that much. So just be aware that a lot of the bills out there, they're touted to really be beneficial, and they definitely help, but in the end, it doesn't matter that much in terms of the actual math on the ground. So you just got to fight and you got to win. And that's, something that you can use somebody. Try not to use an agent because as so far as I've seen, agents win about apparently 50% of the time. And the reason is when they lose big. Like I've seen an agent lose 6 to 10 times in a row because they were able to convince the people in a particular neighborhood to go with them, and they had essentially one argument for that neighborhood, and the board didn't buy it. It was a good argument, but because the board didn't buy it, they had 6 to 10 straight losses, and everybody in that neighborhood essentially lost out, which is like that's not the way to go. Anyway. Yeah, that's pretty much why you have to fight, because if you don't, you are going to get screwed massively by the county. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave me comments or questions below, and you can always reach out. Take care and have a good day.